success. Hey, what's up everyone? James from Junkyard Fox. Thank you so much for joining us on another adventure. Now, last week's video was all about foraging in the West Texas desert now that it's springtime, and so we gathered some yucca flowers, some cactus pads, cooked them right up, so just enjoying some wild food out here. This week's video is still going to be dealing with wild food, however, meat's going to be on the menu, and so I'm going to show you guys how I set up these $2 Victor rat traps to capture small game. Now, I know when it comes to survival and bushcraft skills, primitive skills, it's a lot more romanticized to, carving your own traps off the landscape, such as this figure 4 deadfall trap right here. And I'm a full proponent of learning how to craft these things. They're fun to make, and I've even caught a couple using these things. However, I guarantee you, in all my years that I've done this, these have caught a lot more game. They're just faster, they're more efficient, they take a lot less work, and they're portable. And so I'm a big proponent of using these traps to capture small game. And longtime viewers will remember that in the old days, man, I've caught from small ground squirrels to pack rats. I even caught a pigeon on one of these things one time. And so it's a very great way to just passively trapping your game while you're busy doing something else, conserving energy. And so I'm going to show you guys how I set mine up. Very simple process, and hopefully tomorrow morning we're going to be eating some breakfast. So, what you're going to need is, of course, these rat traps. They're like about $2 at a Walmart. I get the larger ones. They're just a little bit more powerful than the small mouse traps. You're going to need some cordage, and you're going to need a knife and an awl to drill a hole into it. And so let's get to it. So the only difference from my older ones is this has this wide pedal right here, but I'm sure that's not going to be any different from my usual style. So let's go ahead and start drilling a hole here. And you want to drill a hole because if you catch something, coyotes or something, some scavenger can come and take your trap. That's happened to me before, so you do want to drill a hole so they can't run away with your trap. They might take away your mouse, but not your trap. So let's go ahead and open this right up. And so we're going to drill a hole right around here, right where the R is. And so let's get the awl. And I am using my Swiss Army knife, one-handed trekker. I just think this has the best, sharpest awl that I've ever found. This will take a couple minutes, so I'm not going to bore you too much. Once I'm about halfway through, I'm going to stop and I'm going to turn around and bore it from the other side. And that way it's not putting so much pressure on the wooden board or it can crack. So we've successfully drilled a hole through here. It just takes about 3 minutes. Now we're just going to run some cordage. And it could be anything you want. I just find some bank line to be just a little bit easier to transfer through than paracord. But you can use whatever you want. And once again, we're just going to tie a knot here. Doesn't matter what kind of knot. I'm not particularly good at knots, but you don't have to get complicated. Just something that's just going to keep this from unraveling and keep animals from stealing your trap. Because, yeah, you don't want to lose that. Okay, so I'm just going to do a square knot twice. And once again, bank line is pretty tacky. It's pretty sticky. Just tighten that up. And then what I do is I lift it so it's not at the bottom, because then it's going to have it lifted from a flat ground like this. I kind of just turn it like this. And there we go. All right. And I'm going to make this about, it's up to you, about 6 feet is pretty good. It's up to you whether you want to make it longer, shorter, but this should be good enough. There we go. As for the next step is to scout your area and look for signs of life. Look for a game trail. Check this area out. You can see a lot of little footprints going back and forth in this area. These look like they could be small cottontails, little rabbits. You can see these little squiggles. They could be the tail of kangaroo rat. And they go from this direction down to in between these two creosote right here. So this looks like it's a very populated area at nighttime. And so we're going to set up our trap close to this creosote. And we're going to tighten. Once again, I'm going to use the cordage to tether the trap to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Also, be sure to mask the scent of your hands with some dirt. The last thing you want to do is be setting up your bait and your hand smells like lotion or anything like that, sunscreen. That scent is going to scare them off because it's unnatural to their area. So kind of just mask the scent of your hands with dirt. I feel like that helps. And so what I use for bait is peanut butter. Rodents love peanut butter. Not only that, but it's sticky, so it'll stay on this trap. And whenever you put seeds, they stay on there as well. And so what I'm using is sunflower seeds. You could use bird seed, all manner of things. But throw a couple in there, sprinkle a few over here to entice them. I kind of just embed them in there so they kind of become a little harder to steal. And now to set them. Now just be very careful here because you don't want to get your fingers on here. And now just to stack the odds to our favor is I'm going to place debris on the sides. And so when the animal comes, it's going to look for the path of least resistance and it's going to come towards the killing end. There we go. And use twigs, use rocks, use garbage if you have to, empty soda bottles and whatever. Just stuff that will discourage the animal from approaching any other way from other than the killing end, the path of least resistance. So there we go. This thing is set up. It's good to go. One last thing is what I like to do personally is get something bright. I have this torn up orange sweater and it's easy to tell orange from all these earth tones. And so when I'm checking this trap at 5 in the morning, it's a lot easier for me to tell where I left my trap so I don't lose it. And there we go. That is set up, ready for the night ahead. And so, let's go. And as with all traps, it's a numbers game. So we do have 2 of my older traps and we're going to set those up just to raise our odds just a little bit. So let's set these up. You can tell that this is another game trail right here. You can see that it goes off into the grass over there. And so same thing, we're going to set one up right here and tether it to this creosote. All right, there we go. We've set our 3rd trap for the evening right next to this game trail, and we are not the only ones hunting. Notice that beauty right there, that rattlesnake? And notice how he's right beside that game trail. So he's just nice and patient, waiting to ambush his prey. And a beautiful animal. He's lucky that snakes are not on the menu tonight. That'll be another time, another video. But yeah, just an expert in his game right there. So our 3 traps have been set. Now, if you try to emulate this, guys, please use common sense. Do not set these up at a park or a trail where a dog or a curious child can get close to them and then they can get hurt. So please avoid that. As for me, I'm going to head on home and I'm going to come check these traps before dawn. So see you then. Morning of the next day. Nothing. All right, let's check the other 2. So I just checked all 3 traps. Sadly, none of them were triggered. That's just the reality when it comes to trapping and hunting and fishing is you're not guaranteed immediate results right away. So we do got to be patient. So I'm going to leave this area. I'll come back in a couple of hours to check them again. In case they're still not triggered at all, I'll just pick them up and set them elsewhere. So we just got to be patient and play the long game. Success. Kangaroo rat. Well, good morning, everyone. So it did take several days, but we finally have success. You got to keep in mind that these are timid animals, they are prey animals, and they know their environment well. So when something shows up that's out of the ordinary, they're going to be quite cautious about it. So you got to sometimes leave the traps for a couple of days so they get comfortable to it, or you just got to switch out the bait and make it more enticing. So we did catch this one little kangaroo rat, little youngster. And as always, we're forever grateful for any animal that we take its life. You know, we're always, that's not something to be taken lightly. And just for the sake of this demonstration, I am not starving, so we're just going to eat one. I've already put away all the other traps into the truck, so no need to catch another one. Whenever you do catch a small rodent, as always with all prey, you want to inspect it, make sure that there's no fleas or ticks, there's no bald spots, tumors, anything that might trigger alarm bells, hey, this thing isn't healthy, I shouldn't eat it. But this little guy, it's a youngster, it looks pretty healthy. It was a cold night, and so I don't have to worry that it's just been sitting out, in the heat. So I'm fairly confident this dude is pretty good. Obviously, once you open and you inspect the guts, you want to make sure that the liver doesn't have any white spots, anything like that, worms, anything that may, once again, trigger your response to, hey, I'm not going to eat this. But so far, so good. Beautiful little animal, really cute. Let's get our knife. We're just going to make a little incision on its back so we can remove the fur. Very easy to process. Toss the head. And now to gut it, I like to go up here where the sternum is and make an incision. That way I don't risk cutting the intestines down here. And then start cutting upwards. And if you've got water, give them a little rinse. And now to put my money where my mouth is. So we're going to cook this guy right up. We've had this fire burning for some time, so we have a good bed of coals. Now, at the beginning, we do want a little bit of flame, because when it comes to meat, you kind of want to char the outside just a little bit so it seals in the juices. Don't want to burn it, but just kind of singe it just a slight bit. Also, in case there's any slight little fur left over, it's just going to burn off. I've attached it to this green mesquite branch. And let the heat do the work. And slowly come back and turn it every couple minutes. And it's almost chow time. So we've been slowly turning him for about 20 minutes. He's pretty much done. I'm going to throw in a couple of spices. I got the rub and brine campfire just to give it some flavor. And as I've mentioned before, some cynical person that doesn't spend enough time outdoors is going to question why I would carry spices in my outdoor kit. And this is precisely why. Because eating wild food, sometimes it's bland, sometimes it's just downright gross. And so a little bit of spices can add a little bit of enjoyment to your wild food. So I'm a firm proponent of carrying spices in your outdoor gear. And so now, moment of truth. Time to chow down. And you'd pay $10 at Whole Foods for something like this. This is all organic, free-range mesquite smoked wild meat right here. nice and well cooked. You want to save the medium rare for the steakhouse. You want to make sure all wild game is fully cooked. Make sure it takes care of anything that you don't see any kind of, parasites or anything like that. But this guy is good to go. And before anybody gets squeamish, keep in mind that this is a pack rat. It is a wild animal out in the desert. It eats seeds and bugs, so it's not the same rat you think of when you think of like New York City sewer rats and stuff like that. So this thing is going to be good eating. I'm pretty confident on this guy. And so, moment of truth. Break off a little leg right there. That is delicious. I'm not even being dramatic. That is some damn good meat right there. Now, sadly, these guys are pretty small. I was actually hoping to catch a pack rat, which is a larger animal, but you'll take what you can get. So this is what we're demonstrating, but pretty damn good stuff. And the bones are so small, and of course they're dried out, so they just break apart. I'm not going to eat the little paw, of course. I'm going to toss that. Damn good. Keep in mind, this is for emergencies if you're squeamish, but it can supplement meat that you can, add to your rice or your grains that you may have, your beans. Also, the guts can also be used for bait for trapping larger scavengers such as raccoons, for example. So there's a lot of uses for this right here. And now for the tail. It should be nice and crispy. Look at that. So once again, this can help supplement if you're living off the land and you're gathering cactus pads and yucca flowers, stuff like that. You need protein once in a while. There's also larger game as well that you can capture. So this is all we had at the moment, but you can even get, once again, I've even caught birds with rat traps before. All right, let's get to the good stuff. The back strap. This right here. Good stuff. Well, that's about it for this video, guys. Once again, I just wanted to highlight the importance of a good old classic Victor rat trap because, once again, I think it's extremely overlooked. I think we need to see a lot more of these in bug-out bags or even keeping them in your garage, whether you just want to keep vermin away from your home or you're someone like me that likes to indulge in wild foods with fishing and foraging and trapping. This is a good way to gather meat passively while you're maybe actively hunting with your rifle, and in case you don't have any luck, well, here's your plan B right here. And so I've even seen some people using these traps, modifying them to catch fish. I've seen some people using these to make perimeter alarms, so that's homework for me. I'm going to practice that, and hopefully you'll see that in a future video. And I mean, I think these are they're plentiful. They'll last you years. They're only $2, so that makes them the perfect stocking stuffer for that one relative that you don't know what to get. I guarantee you they don't have a rat trap, so there you go right there. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any questions, comments, suggestions. Don't forget to hype this video, and we'll see you guys next week with another video. Now go outside and get your boots dirty.